Hello and welcome to the video for interactive design for Thursday, October 1st. Let people in from the waiting room. Hello,
Hi,
Hello,
how you guys doing?
doing good today.
Good.
good.
You know, I read that Tucson set a record over 100 days with 100-degree weather. Is
That's
that
crazy.
great?
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I
Yay!
have 4 years here and I still hate the weather. It's horrible. It's like bipolar. You go out, it's hot, and in the night, a few hours later, it's cold. I don't know this weather. I hate it.
So you're saying you love Tucson?
Yes, with all my heart. I can live without Tucson.
Yes, I agree. Tucson is paradise. Okay, let's see. Trevor says he wants to escape the heat. Grady says, hey. Yes, I hear you, Trevor. I would like to escape the heat too. Um, but you know, there are some good things about Tucson. We don't really have that many sort of natural disasters here other than the weather.
Because there is no nature.
That's true.
You need nature for natural disaster.
That's, you do make a point there. But you know, we don't get hurricanes, right? We don't get the kind of floods that take out the whole town. We've had
We don't
very
have
few,
water. We don't have an ocean near. That's why we don't get that.
we haven't had any, we don't have our earthquakes. We don't have, we've had very few nuclear detonations so I think Tucson is maybe a little better than you think. Okay. Well, let me put you guys all in the attendance here, and then we can talk about how we're gonna celebrate Tucson. Okay. All right. Cool. Got you guys in there. Now I'm gonna go to the class website. Interactive design, and then down here. Okay, so let's see. Well, we may or may not have a presentation from a student today. He's not here yet, so when he comes in, we can take a look and see if he's got that finished. And I know at least one student who's also not here yet who has a an ad to show us that we can look at. But while we're waiting on those guys, do any of you guys have some work you'd like to show us on your Halloween ad?
So my the computer I used to like do my work on isn't working right now. But I have the house I downloaded from VecDeasy.
Okay.
If you want to show that.
Okay, cool. All right, let's check it out. A TZ house. All right, so let me go into, this should be right. So if I look at Amelia, here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Share screen, share, go over here. Okay, is it in this Halloween ad? No, that's just your document, right?
I think it's in my folder.
Oh wait, I see one way down here. It's not this, is it?
1 second.
DD dash Halloween?
Yeah, it is.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what do you guys think of this for the Advent calendar Halloween idea? You like this idea? I
Are
like
are
it.
you going? Are you going to count the days since day 1 of October until the 31? How is going to be the calendar?
So I think there's gonna be 31 little windows. I'm not sure how many I want to do, but it probably will be some sort of counting down.
You
And
can
so like
count
you
the
click
weeks.
on the doors.
If you count the weeks, it's less. There are four.
Yeah, I need to make more.
Okay, so you're gonna fill that up with 31 different little windows and doors.
I'm gonna try to figure out a way to not do 31, but I'm not sure how I'm
Use
gonna do that yet.
use weeks instead of days, and you only have to have 4.
That's a good idea.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Okay, well, I think this is a great choice because you have those bats that you can have flying around, and you got a really cool background, and then this house looks a lot like the house that was your mood board inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. That's great.
I
Okay.
will, this is Latisse, and I'll be right back.
Okay,
Oh,
these,
okay.
let's see. It says, I like it. It's kind of fun, looks especially for kids from Trevor. You could add like a few more and do the 13 days before Halloween. Oh, that's a cool idea too. Like the 12 days of Christmas, but 13 because 13's unlucky, right? The 13 days of Halloween. Uh, I like it. Very cool. All right, so that's great. Sorry to hear about your computer. Any plans to get that fixed anytime soon, or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take it in, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, that looks really good though. You're doing a good job with that.
Thank you.
Um, okay. Who else has got something? Let's see. Trevor said he had like 5 seconds of his. I'll take 5 seconds. Trevor. So I can look in 252 here. So I see Halloween had FLA. I'm gonna guess that's it, but maybe he will say something to me. Yes, it is. Okay. Um, okay, it looks like your font's gonna cheese up here. Let's see what it looks like.
Nobody organized society. No way without the preaching agent. I'm never alive again. Start everything all over again.
Okay, so we can assume it goes on like that for a while.
I
Uh,
love the music.
yeah, the music's great. The graphics are cool too, right?
Right.
Just a big orange background and the black pumpkin face, and then the kind of flashing in, sort of almost like a terror movie kind of thing, and then the text coming in between the graphics, giving you the context of the ad. It's looking really good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Uh, so Trevor says he's trying to time out a strobe. Okay, be careful about that, Trevor, because if you actually achieve a strobe effect, then that can trigger adverse reactions in certain people. So be careful about that kind of thing. Do you know about that movie? Let's see. You remember the movie The Incredibles, and they came out with Incredibles 2, that the sequel to it. Well, it had a character in it who used like this kind of white electrical light, and there was a scene where all these strobes were going off, and they had to put a warning on the movie because people couldn't watch it, because it could trigger attacks and things like that. So, um, maybe that won't be such a big deal if you're just using a color. But I'm not really sure if that can trigger an attack or not. But just be aware of that when you're doing your project. Um, okay, let's see. Anybody else have anything they want to share with us? Um, I know Latisse has something, but I think she stepped away for just a
Wait, I'm
second.
right here. I'm right here. Sorry, my thing was on mute. I have my idea and a few assets, but I haven't put anything together.
Okay, what about that? You have that ad that you sent me? Can we look at that?
It's still janked up, so I don't know what to do. But let me go over, I can go over my Halloween ad.
Let's do that. So you want me to go into your folder?
Sure, I can talk about it and show you what I have. There's my sketch. Wait, go back one, Greg, please. There's my idea right there. It's for a company I made up called Black Cat Dispensary, and they're having a Halloween sale, and there's specials that kind of go around the trick or treat theme.
Okay, I know what they should have. The pumpkin spice latte joint.
Something like that. So I have some mummy kush and just some random things. And that's a pumpkin made out of buds. And then in the folder are some of my assets that I'll probably break down in Illustrator to build these things.
What do you guys think about this idea?
Dun, 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 dun. Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's a great idea. And you have some really cool drawings, sketches in here.
And
This is an idea for like a
a
logo.
logo, yeah.
And then the pumpkin made out of buds is great. Um,
I found
it'd be kind of funny to see a scene of like somebody trick or treating and then them throwing in like blunts or something into their
oh,
bag.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Okay, now we can look at some of the
Yeah, there's some things in there. Like I found some of the stuff. There's some really cool typography next to that, the fourth one down. Boom. Yeah, that right there. I don't, oh wait, you can't see it all. Sorry. But anyways, it's A through Z of typography. I didn't drop the download. It's probably just an image.
oh, okay, got it. Okay. So there's buds and then here's some smoke.
Mm-hmm. Just for some slow movement, maybe. I don't know. Feedback. Anybody?
Yeah, I like the smoke.
So,
I
yeah,
mean, it definitely fits in with your theme.
for sure. I have a Shutterstock membership, so I'm just kind of debating what I want to download.
Oh yeah. Uh, I I I signed up for their like free 30-day thing and then I just bailed out.
That's what I'm doing right now, but they have better images to go with what I want,
They
really.
do well, and I'll be the first to admit that Vecteezy doesn't have the greatest images in the world, but sometimes you just get used to whatever you sign up for and you're too lazy to try other things. But
I was like,
that's why I tried Shutterstock. But the problem with the big boys of stock are that they charge you a lot of money if you want to use something professionally.
yeah, real dealness. For
Like $100. You know what I mean? For one image.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So to me,
Hmm.
it's not even worth using it because they're like, okay, for 29.99 a month, you can download up to 10 images. But if you want to use any of those images in a professionally released product, it's $100 for that one image. I'm like, screw you.
I
Uh,
guess you would have to invest in for your pitch and then put it in your client cost as part of their
yeah,
fee.
yeah. If that's what you're doing, yeah. And then this is like the blunt alphabet here.
Well, yeah, that's some spliff alphabet, but I found the bud typography that I really like. I downloaded it, but it didn't drop, I guess.
Okay.
I dropped the wrong file. And that's that. And then I'm gonna use that there to build my pumpkin, but that's that.
I like it. I like it. I think you have great ideas and you've already got a head start on the graphics, so looks really cool. You have any idea for like the sound, the music or
I
anything?
want to do music, but you know how I like to do music, Greg. I always like to add something. I don't know yet. I have to hear the right track. Maybe some sound effects because it's Black Cat. Maybe I'll have some meow going on or something.
Okay. Uh, Sounds good. And I wonder if we did a search for like free Halloween sound effects, if we'd
What
find
was
what.
that one website you used to tell us to go to? I could not remember it. Was it FX
Oh, you mean free music archive or free sounds?
Something like that. Yeah, I was like stomping me.
Well, let's see. We're at freesoundeffects.com. Uh, here's scary and horror. So let's see. Scary ambience. Okay.
That makes it pop.
Let's see. Let's see what we have here.
What about scary laugh?
Oh yeah, scary laugh.
Yeah. That's what they do. Maybe. Why do I like that one?
I don't know. It's just
Cackling ass.
funny.
Yeah.
Uh, what is an octobrain? Oh, it's like a special sound effect.
It's like a monster, it sounds
Okay.
like. But yeah.
Hey, there's one here called TARDIS. What do you think that is? Does the TARDIS have a sound effect?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, anyway, here's some options for you guys. Maybe you can use some of these, but there's a lot more out there on the web.
Thanks.
Um, all right, let's see. So Renee says she thinks the smoke will add a nice touch. Um, Trevor likes your idea. Leticia says he wants to see more. It's a great start. And Trevor also says about his, the song just goes on, but that's it so far. Yeah, I think yours is really good, Trevor, as well. And he has a new name. He's calling your alphabet, the Spliffs alphabet, Blunt Alphabet. Pretty funny.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. What else? We got some more people. So Renee or Grady or any of you guys, Spike, have any of you guys got anything to share with us on your Halloween project and some graphics or an idea, anything like that? Spike, how are you doing with did you okay, so Grady's still in the idea phase. Spike, have you were you able to put together a presentation?
Um, I don't think I did a presentation.
You don't have it?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Okay, so if anybody else has anything, you can pop it here into the chat. I think what we're going to do at this point is continue on with our tutorial, the ad that we're doing with the baskets and the dip bowls and stuff like that. So let's go into Adobe Animate here, and we have to open, let's see, I got to open a recent file here. Open recent, and then it should be, don't tell me, this one right here. Recover, Recover. Oh, that's a scary title, isn't it? Recover, Recover. Hopefully this is everything that it's supposed to be. Okay, now I'm going to have to open up the tutorial website. So I'm gonna need a second here to locate the password. So I'm gonna stop my share for a second, stop my video. Let me go ahead and look up this password. I don't really want to share it. And then I'll log into the appropriate site so we can do this tutorial. So give me a minute here.
That's the password of Linda.
Yeah, exactly.
I send it in a chat.
Oh, you put it in the chat?
Yes, let me send it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll go to LinkedIn in the browser. Okay, linked in learning. Okay, let me go there.
Okay. Do you have it?
Uh, oh, I might still be logged in.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm still logged in. So I think we're good.
Now we're going to create a button symbol that's going to sit over top of the entire advertisement.
Okay, we did that. All right, let me turn my video back on here. Okay, turn my video on, share my screen again, share. Okay, so now we got to get down to wherever the heck we were. So I believe we made the ad clickable. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. So that's the last one that we did. So now we're going to add web fonts and final animation is the last is the next video, I should say. So let's see what happens with this. Okay, I'm clicking adding web fonts. Oh, I guess this is section 4, and now I got to click animating the text box. Okay.
So now that we have all of the scripts working in our animation, now we're going to go back and animate the text block, the text, add a web font, and then we can work on publishing. So we're going to start off by animating the text block. Now, if you did a published movie, you probably are seeing the output window here in place of the timeline. So I'll come back here and highlight the timeline. In the top of the timeline panel where we added the button layer, let's come in here and hide and lock that layer.
Okay, we're going to hide and lock the button layer. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so if you publish something, it's showing your output, you can click on timeline. So then the button layer, which is the second one here, you want to hide it by clicking on the eyeball column, and then you want to lock it by clicking on the lock column.
And then we'll come down and select the first keyframe for the text block. Now the text block is just a rectangle. So to animate this, we need to convert this to a symbol. So let's go up to the Modify menu, choose Convert to Symbol. We'll name this text box. Set the type to a graphic. Registration point doesn't matter.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to the text box layer, click on the very first frame, go to Modify, Convert to Symbol, call it text box, and change it to a graphic, and then hit OK.
Then we'll click OK. Now the text block is in its final position. So let's come down to the text box layer. Let's come out to frame 48. With that frame selected, let's come up to Insert, Timeline, insert a keyframe.
Okay, so on the text box layer, locate frame 48. And once again, when you click on a frame, it tells you the frame number up here. So like I clicked on one that was pretty close, it's 47, but obviously I have to go one more. Then right click on that frame and insert a keyframe. And when you insert a keyframe, it always inserts the exact same frame that is before it. So that means we're inserting that orange box down here.
Then we'll move the playhead back to frame 1. I'll select the first keyframe for the text box. Holding the Shift key and the right arrow, I'll move this off the stage.
Okay, so since we're going to do an animation, and since this is where it's going to end up, that one, the keyframe at frame 48 can stay where it is, but we got to go back to the first one and click on it. Now what he does, he says you can click on it, hold your Shift key down, and then hold your right arrow down, and it will send the box flying off the right side of the stage there. And that's what you want. You want to get it just off of the stage so we can't see it.
Then in the text box layer, let's come over here and select frame 27. I'll hit F6 to create another keyframe.
Okay, so locate frame 27. Hit F6 on your keyboard to insert another keyframe.
And then in between the two keyframes, I'll right-click and choose Create Classic Tween.
Okay, so right-click in between the two, create classic tween. Okay, so what that does is, the reason that he put this one down here at 27 is because he doesn't want the motion of that text box to start until the basket gets into place, which is actually a little bit after 27. But after it kind of goes into place, then you see the text box come onto the screen. So it's that idea of staging, right? Which is one thing happens, which is the basket rolls on. Then a second thing happens, which is reveals the text. Then basically about the time that it lands in its final position, the orange box starts to come on. So one thing after another, as opposed to a bunch of things happening at once and you're not sure what to look at, right? This kind of forces you to, your eye to follow the directions that the designer is giving you.
So now that creates an animation of the orange box. Now I'll select one of the frames in that tween. In the Properties panel, let's come in here and set the ease to 100.
Okay, this is my big test to remember where the easing is, and I know it's on frames. So, okay, click anywhere in between these set of frames that we just animated. And then, yep, here it is. Go over to your Properties box, make sure you have the Frame button clicked at the top, the Frame tab. And then you'll see Classic Ease, and then you'll see this number. Click on that number, drag to the right until that's 100%. Of course, easing is, slow in and slow out kind of motion where it's not linear. It doesn't always move at the same pace. It starts out slow, speeds up to a constant pace, and then slows down. It's more like real life.
And now the orange box will animate in and continue to animate for a few frames after the basket animates in. And with this timing, the animation of the dip bowl, which animates from the right to the left, should line up with the animated box that we just created. So to test this, let's go up to the control menu. Let's come down to Test Movie and then choose In Browser. And now in the browser, we can see when the orange box animates in, a few frames after the orange basket, it aligns pretty closely with the animation of the dip bowl.
Okay, let's check that out. So you might want to save your file, Control, Test Movie in Browser. Yep, it's pretty close. The orange comes over just as the dip bowl is coming in.
So we get a nice sweeping animation effect as the orange bar appears to continue through the animation of the dip bowl across the basket. So now with our text box animated, next we'll bring in a font from Typekit and change the headline font from Arial to something more interesting.
Okay, so we're going to attempt to bring in a font from Typekit. I don't know how this will work with the fact that we have these Adobe products that are all licensed through Pima. I'm hoping it'll work, but I haven't tried using Typekit with this kind of setup before, but we'll see what happens.
Now we'll bring a web font into our project using Typekit. So in the timeline panel, I'll come down here and show the headline layer. Then I'll come up here and select it on the stage. Now in the properties panel.
Okay, let's start by doing those two things. So it'll show your output, so you can go to timeline, go to the headline panel or the headline layer, click on the eyeball which is crossed out to show it. Okay, so now we can see that. And it doesn't really matter where you are in the whole scheme of things here. Now click on the text, which is the white on sale everyday text. And then now let's go back to the video.
Earlier we set this to static text, and I chose Arial so that we could look at a sans serif font while we were doing our other animation and design work. But now I want to pick a WebKit font that's also sans serif. Now the first thing we need to do is change the type of the text block from static to dynamic.
Okay, so if we're going to bring in Adobe Web Fonts, and the way the Adobe Web Fonts work is all those fonts that Adobe is advertising as Adobe web fonts are on a server somewhere. And because you pay for the Creative Cloud, you're allowed to use them on your projects, websites and ads and things like that. But you have to change the type of text that you're doing, because static text, which is what we have here, is just text that you type in. Whereas dynamic text has some element of coding related to it. Like dynamic text can be text that's brought in, bringing a font in, or it can be text where it appears based on some choice you made. It can be linked to code somehow. So static, of course, means it just sits there. Dynamic means something's going on with it. There's some kind of motion attached to it. So it changes to dynamic text, which is going to allow us to hopefully bring in a web font.
Once we do that, we'll get a little Earth symbol here over to the right of family. Let's come in here and click on the Earth, and that will launch the Typekit browser in a miniature web window.
Okay, so this is where we see if it works or not. So now a little Earth is here. As soon as you change that to dynamic, click on that. Click on Adobe fonts. Let's see. Okay, now we get this little thing here.
So I'll come down here and click Get Started. Once this loads,
Okay, let's see if it's going to load up for us. So click Get Started. Cool, loaded up. So there are the fonts. I'm assuming this is working for you guys. Okay.
You can come in here and search for fonts on Typekit. The font I want to use is called Fat Frank, so I'll just start typing the letters FAT so I can see it showing up here.
Okay. So go in the search box up here and type FAT. Ooh, bummer. Mine is not coming up. What a bummer. Maybe they took it out because, I don't know, maybe some people were offended by the name or something like that. Because this tutorial is a little old. So let's pick a different font to use. Let's just choose, it's going to look different, but let's just choose this one, Brothers, because the Frank font isn't there. So just type in maybe Brothers, and just so we can see how this works.
I'll come down here and select this. I'll see a blue check. Then I'll simply come down here and click OK.
Okay, so we're going to click on this, and then we see a blue check, and then we're going to click OK. All right, now I'm not sure what happened exactly. Maybe it added it to my list here. Let's see. Maybe I can start typing it. Let's see. Yep. Oh yeah, cool. So you can put your text cursor inside of the font box here and start typing Brothers, and it will bring it in. Granted, it's not a good looking font for this ad, but we're just kind of demoing how to bring in a Typekit font.
Now, once the font's available for my project, I'll see this in the output window. So I can see here that the font has been added, and I can get to the new font from the font menu. So I'll go back to the timeline. Let's come up here and double click on the text block. I'll select all of the text. I'll come over here to the family list. We'll click on the drop down, and then we'll scroll up to the top, and now we'll see any web fonts that we've added to our project. So here is Fat Frank. So I'll just select this. And now on the stage, I can see that that Typekit font is now being applied to the text block. So to test this in a browser, let's come up to the control window. Let's come down to Test Movie, choose In Browser. And now,
okay, let's see how that works in the browser. It should show us this font. So Control Test Movie in Browser. Oh, there it is. There's the Brothers font. Is that working for you guys? Okay, let's go ahead and hit play.
In the browser, we can see that the JavaScript is successfully loading the typekit font and applying it to our text area. And so now that we have this working, next we'll animate the text onto the screen and we'll time it with the wood bowl animation inside of the product symbol. So now we're going to animate the headline onto the ad. I want to animate it vertically, and I want to align the timing so it matches the downward animation of the wood bowl. So the first thing we'll do is select the text block and convert this to a symbol so we can animate it. So with that selected, go to the Modify menu, come down and choose Convert to Symbol. We'll name this headline, set the type as a graphic, doesn't matter what the registration is, and then click OK.
Okay, so we're going to go back to our timeline here. We're going to click on our text. We're going to go Modify, Convert to Symbol. We're going to name this headline, leave it a graphic, and hit OK.
Now before I animate this, I do want to change the position a little bit. In the Properties panel, I'm going to come over here and set the X position to 645.
Okay, so click on this, set your X position. X right here, X and Y are unlocked. So let's see. My X position is currently 533, and he wants 645. And that's too far, possibly because we have a different font than him. So let me give you a different choice of a number. Let's try 570. That's too much. Let's try 560. Okay, try 560. I think that'll work out okay.
Just want to center this a little bit between the bowl and the edge of the ad. Now let's come down to the timeline panel. In the headline layer, let's come out here and select frame 73. So right here, let's insert a keyframe.
Okay, so insert a keyframe at 73 on the headline layer. So we go to headline, we come down here to 73-ish, 71, 72, 73. We go, we right click on that and we insert a keyframe.
Then we'll move the playhead back a little bit. I'll select the symbol on the stage. Then holding the Shift key and hitting the up arrow, I want to position the text box off the stage to the top. Once that's in place.
Okay, so now we're gonna grab your playback head and move it back a little bit. Well, let's see. Let's just move it back here. And then click on the text, hold down your Shift key, and hit the up arrow until it's off the stage, I believe.
Place. Let's come down to the headline layer again, and let's find frame 53. I'll hit F6 to create another keyframe.
Okay, so find frame 53. You can hit your F6 key to insert a keyframe.
And then right click in between the two keyframes and choose Create Classic Tween.
Okay, right click between these two, Create Classic Tween. Okay, so, you know, once again, the difference between the first keyframe on this layer and the one at 53, they're both exactly the same, which means it's just holding the text off of the screen up at the top until he's ready to start animating it in, and then that animation occurs between 53 and 73, and that's when the text drops in.
Then in the Properties panel, let's set the easing to 100.
Okay, so we want this to look really good, so click in between the two keyframes, come over here to your frame tab and click on that number and 0 and drag it over to 100. That'll ease it in.
And then by jogging the timeline, I can see that the headline now animates from the top down into its final position. Now to get this animation to time with the wood bowl, we're going to need to add a bunch more frames to the main timeline. Now one way we can do this is get the playhead in between these two keyframes here, where we see gray in all of these layers. Come up to the insert menu, go down to timeline and choose frame. And you'll see that this adds one frame to all of the layers. Now if you come in here and marquee select a series of frames, so if I pick 3 frames in all layers, and do the same thing, come up to insert, timeline, and choose frame, this will add 3 frames to all of the individual layers. Now the way I prefer to do this.
Okay, now let's just test that out. So you bring your playback head here, you click your mouse somewhere in this area between these 2 keyframes, it doesn't matter what layer, and then you go modify. Let's see, the problem is we don't have the, let's see, I'm trying to see, we don't have the same choices that he has because he's got an old version of Animate. So we can't, we don't have that insert frame thing. Let me see if we've got it. If we right click, yeah, it's now on right click. So if you right click and you go insert frame, oh wow, it puts it down here at the end. That's crazy. Okay, so this operates a little differently than the way he did it. But he's going to tell us the way he prefers to do it, so maybe that will be something that still works. Let's see what happens.
Is to come down here and click in the top area here so that we're not selecting any frames or layers. And if I hit the F5 key, I can add a frame to all of the layers.
Okay, perfect. So let's try that. Hope it works. So make sure you don't have any layers selected by clicking in the gray area underneath. Make sure your playback head is between these 2 keyframes here. And then, sure enough, if you hit F5, it will add new frames to all the layers here, thereby pushing this forward.
And now if I hit Shift F5, I can remove frames as well. So I'm going to continue to hit F5, and I want to add enough frames so that the first keyframe of the headline layer starts at frame 97.
Okay, so kind of cool there. If you hold down the Shift key while you hit F5, you're actually removing frames. This is a good way to expand the size of your animation so you can put new things in there. So let's see. I got to back him up a little bit. I forgot what number he said.
Frame of the headline layer starts at frame 97.
Okay. So we want to put in enough frames so that this first keyframe here starts at 97. And that is a long ways away. So we got to put this in here. We got to start hitting F5. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. Make sure you don't have anything selected. Click in the gray area to not have anything selected. And then hit your F5. And actually, you can just kind of hold it down if you want. And it will keep adding frames. And what you want to do is move this little bad boy here until he's over at 95. So right now mine is at 92. So I got to do 1, 2, 3. And now he is at 95, that first keyframe of this purple area of the headline.
So we're going to be adding 22 frames of duration between the end of the text box animation and the beginning of the headline animation. And this will give me the timing I'm looking for to try to match the headline with the animation of the wood bowl. So once we have this in place, let's test this by coming up to Control, Test Movie, and then choose In Browser. And now in the browser we have a nice sweeping effect as the orange box slides in from the left, which matches up with the dip bowl animation, and then the headline coming down from the top, which is closely matching the wood bowl animation.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, I think mine's running a little slow, maybe because my browser is so big here, but yeah, it's not matching up exactly, but it's close enough, and it definitely helps with the continuity of the ad.
And now with these in place, next we'll create a call to action and an arrow, and we'll time that to the animation of the ceramic bowl. Now we'll create a
How you guys doing? Is this working out for you guys? Okay.
call to action, which will consist of a text block and a triangle. So down in the timeline panel, I'll select the headline layer. Let's add a new layer. We'll call this CTA for call to action.
Okay. Go to your headline layer, click the plus symbol, double click on the name of the layer and name it CTA for call to action.
With this layer selected, over in the toolbar, let's come over and grab our text tool. So let's click and drag. Let's type in the words shop now. Select our text. Under the paragraph settings in the properties panel, let's align this to the right.
Okay. So now we want to, we're on the CTA layer. We want to click on our text tool. We want to click and drag out a box. We want to type, let's see, let's make sure your caps lock is on and type shop now. Highlight that, and then for the alignment, align it to the right side of your text box like this.
For the size, let's set this to 28 points. And for the spacing, let's come down and set this to -5.
Okay, I don't know if those numbers will work exactly with our text. Let's see, 28 point and -5. It's not terrible. I don't think it's as big as his. Let me look at his again. It's not too bad. It'll probably work.
Now we'll resize the text block a little bit. We'll also set the type color to white.
Okay, so you want to resize your text box, grab the handle on the left, drag it over, drag the handle on the bottom, drag it up. With your text selected, over here where it says fill, click on that box and change that color to white. Then you should have white text.
Now I'll position this about right here. Now with this select,
Okay, so then we're going to grab this and position it kind of centered under the orange box.
let's convert this into a symbol. So choose modify, convert to symbol. We'll name this CTA. We'll keep it as a graphic and then click OK.
Okay, well, that's selected, modify, convert to symbol, CTA. All right.
Now let's double click this and go into isolation mode. Now inside of here, let's come up to the upper right hand corner of the canvas. Let's change the size to, let's say, about 400.
Okay, so first thing he's doing is going into isolation mode, which is where you can work on just one specific thing. So if you double click on the item on your stage, which is the shop now, it will take you into isolation mode, which is just that symbol, right? Then he wants you to go up here to the drop down menu in the top right corner of your stage and change it to, he wants us to change it to 400, but 400 is no longer listed. So we can type 400 into the box and hit return. and that will bring us in, zoom us in on this text.
Hold the space bar, I'll move this over a little bit. Now in the timeline panel, let's rename layer 1 to text. Let's also lock the layer. Let's create another layer. We'll name this arrow.
Okay, so layer 1 inside of our symbol here, we're going to call text. We're going to lock it, lock that layer, and create a brand new layer and name that one arrow.
Then with this layer selected, let's go over and grab our rectangle tool. Let's set the color to white. I'm going to click and drag and then hold the shift key. This will conform this to a perfect square.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is click on our shape tool over here. Make sure that the fill is white. We're going to click and start dragging out a shape, but we're going to hold our shift key down so that it makes a perfect square.
Then I'll let go. Click on the selection tool. Let's select this on the stage. And in the properties panel, let's come in here and set the width of this to 50 pixels. I'll hit tab and then set the height to 50 pixels. And then
Okay, so after you draw on your square, click on it, come up here to your width and your height. If you want to, you can, at this point, you can lock them. You can click on the lock icon and just type 50 for one, and it should resize the other one as well.
press return. Now with the object selected, let's come over here to our transform panel. Let's change the rotation to 45 degrees.
Okay, with the object selected, there's a little row of icons here, vertical row. Click on this one here, which it looks like a square with little dots around it. That's the transform panel. Rotate should be selected. Go ahead and click on the numbers below rotate and type in 45 and hit enter. And that forces your box to spin at 45 degrees.
Press return. Then I'll click away. Now still being on the move tool, what I'm going to do is click and drag a marquee selection around half of the diamond shape. Bring this to about right here and then let go. And what I'm basically doing here is selecting only part of this vector shape. Now I'll hit the delete key. What I want to be left with is...
Okay, so we're trying to make a triangle here. And the way he's doing it is he made a square and flipped it 45 degrees. And now what you want to do, click off of it to deselect everything. Come over here to the left with your arrow tool, click and drag out a marquee and go past the center line so that you select everything over here plus a little past the center line, and then hit your delete key and you'll end up with a big triangle. Now, if your triangle is too big, like if it sticks up above the text and below the text, you can make another selection and try and get rid of it. And you can also Command Z if you didn't do it quite right. I guess the perfect size of this triangle would be about the height of the text. So if you can get that, more power to you. If you can't quite get it, it's understandable because it's quite difficult. So I think this is about the closest I'm going to get. So I'm going to be satisfied with that. Okay.
this triangle shape. Now I want this a little bit smaller, so I'll click and drag again and just come in here just a little bit. And then I'll delete that. So I want to have an arrow that's roughly the size of the type. Now if I wanted this to be a little bit larger, I could hit the Q key, which is the transform. Same thing as this tool over here in the toolbar. And I can scale this back up if I want to make this a little bit larger.
Okay, so once you've got your arrow, click on it, you can see how high it is comparable to the text, right? And then you can just sort of move it out. Like you said, if you hit the letter Q on your keyboard, that's a quick key command to transform. That will let you do things like scale and rotate, so you can scale it up or down.
Everything here is vector, so we can scale this element without any loss of quality. So once I have it where I want it, I'll come down here, I'll unlock the text layer, and then I'll come over here and click scene 1 and go back to the main stage.
Okay, so what we want to do is unlock the text layer, and then come down here and click on scene 1. Now we go to the main stage, and interestingly, that symbol that we had now has an arrow on it, right? And so, I mean, it's not that interesting because we just did it, but the point I'm trying to make is that if you make a symbol and you double click on it, you go into symbol edit mode, and you can actually put more layers in there, and you can add more things to a symbol. So let's say you decided to make a symbol that was like the head of a pumpkin, like the outline of a pumpkin. You could do that and turn it into a symbol, and then you could double click on it, open it up, and you could make more layers for the face. And you could put all of those layers of the eyes, the nose, the mouth inside of the pumpkin symbol. And then when you came back to the main scene, all we would see would be the pumpkin symbol with the face, and it would all act like one symbol, right? So there's advantages to doing that sometimes.
I'll set my magnification back to 100. And then I'll also come over here and click on this crosshair icon, which will center the stage in my Canvas tab. So now that we have our call to action symbol created, next we'll animate this, and we'll time the animation for this particular element with the ceramic bowl, which animates in from the right to the left.
Okay, so this is the last animation that we're going to do on this tutorial today. So, but notice how he's got these little animations of text, and he's timing them. First the orange box came in, and it came in at the same time as, right before the dip bowl, and then the sale text comes down approximately the same time as the basket. And now the shop now text, I think, is going to be coordinated to the ceramic bowl. So he's just kind of making everything coordinate and look really good, and it will be a much more beautiful ad as a result.
Now we're going to animate the call to action, and I want the timing of the animation to match as closely as possible with the ceramic bowl. So what that means is we need to add a duration to the main timeline so that all layers have 215 frames. So let's go down to the bottom of the timeline panel. I'm going to scroll out, and we're going to find 215. I'm going to click on the first one, hold, drag down, select the 215th frame for all layers, and then I'm going to hit F5 on my keyboard.
Okay, so you want to scroll down to frame 215. What I normally do is I just click on the very top frame, and I hold down my shift key and I click on the very bottom frame, and then I've selected all the frames in that column. And then you can hit F5. And of course, that's just you're just adding a regular frame, and all that does is it extends all the existing frames out to this long so that the movie is this long.
Or you can go to the insert menu, timeline, and choose frame. So now with all of the frames extended, let's scroll back, and the first thing we'll do is we need to take the stop action here, which is currently on frame 116, select it, and then click and drag, and we want to drag this out so that the stop frame is now on frame 210.
Okay, so you scroll over to about 117, and you see a little blank keyframe with an A above it. That's the stop action. Click on that little round circle, and then drag that frame over to the right, and then let go of it around frame 210. And now you've taken that action, which if we open that up, if we go Window, Actions, doesn't seem like I got the right one. This is not the stop action. Let me see if there was a let me see if there was a second action that we missed, that I missed. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. Now when I click on frame 210, if I just click on the frame, it says this stops. So it does stop the movie there. Okay, that's correct.
So now with that in place, let's scroll back a little bit. We need to find our call to action layer, which is right here. And we're going to first come in and select frame 187 on the call to action layer, which will be right here.
Okay, so find your CTA layer. You can click on it if that helps. Locate frame 187. Okay, right there. Click on that.
We find that, let's add a keyframe. So I'll hit F6.
Okay, we're going to hit F6 on that. Drops in a keyframe.
And then in the same layer, let's come out here and select frame 206 right here. Again, I'll hit F6, create a second keyframe.
Okay, come down to 206, same layer, F6, insert a new keyframe.
And now I'll come back here, bring the playhead before frame 187. I'll click inside of here. This will select the symbol on the stage, and now I'll simply hit delete. So this will.
Okay, grab your playhead and drag it back before frame 187. Click on the gray area on the CTA layer before 187, and then hit your delete key. And what that does is it deletes the very first keyframe. In other words, we don't want the CTA to start at the beginning of the movie. We want it to start on frame 187.
Remove the instance of the call to action symbol for all frames up until 187. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have the call to action behind our products, but the basket on the main stage is semi-transparent, so we would be able to see that until it animates in. So this will make sure that we don't see the artwork until frame 187. So now in frame 187, let's grab this keyframe. I can hold my shift key, hit my left arrow, and I'll move this to the left so it's completely encompassed inside of the product artwork.
Okay, so click on frame 187. You should see your shop now. Hold down your shift key, click on the left arrow, and move this bad boy over until it's completely inside of the basket. Now I'm way zoomed in. You can, at this point, you can zoom back to 100% if you like.
Next, we'll come down, right click in between the two keyframes. Let's choose Create Classic Tween. Let's come up here and set our easing to 100.
Okay, click between the two keyframes, right click, Create Classic Tween. Go over here to the Frame tab and click on, after Classic Ease, click on the 0 and drag it over into 100.
And then finally, let's come over here to the CTA layer. Let's click and drag, and let's put this below the product symbol. And now we don't have to worry about.
Okay, so now grab CTA and drag it down below the layer called Products. Oops, sorry.
Seeing this artwork in front of the basket, because at this point in the animation, the wooden bowl will already be showing in the animated symbol, and the ceramic bowl will already have started its animation toward the right. So with all of this in place, to preview this, let's hit Command Return on the Mac or Control Return in Windows and watch what happens in the browser.
Okay, so Command Return or Control Return on a PC to publish it. How's it working out? Okay, so the timing may not be perfect. It's certainly not perfect in mine, but at least everything is kind of close. The orange comes over and it's kind of close to when the dip bowl comes in. The text on sale every day comes down. It's kind of close to the basket, and then the shop now is kind of close to the ceramic bowl as far as like it rolling in and then it kicking this text out. So it's kind of a nice way that he put this together.
So now we can see the timing of our orange box, of our headline, and then the call to action aligning with the ceramic bowl. And then the animated product symbol continues to play, giving us a nice effect after the main animation is completed. So now that we've finished designing and animating our advertisement, next we'll take a look at some publishing options, including optimizing our files for download, as well as different packaging options for delivering the advertisement.
Okay, like I said, that's where we're going to stop today. So let's go ahead and save our ad. So just file, save. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, I think, because when you do tutorial for a while, you get kind of bleary-eyed. I know I do. I'm going to give you guys a little break so you can use the restroom or get a drink of water or whatever. It's about 7 minutes to 2 o'clock right now, so why don't you take a 7-minute break? We'll come back at 2, and then we'll look at Adobe Animate, and I'll show you how to do a couple things that I talked about on Tuesday. We'll show you how to link your ad to either another website or to downloadable content. And let's see, what's the other thing that I was going to show you? Oh yeah, how to start and stop a movie clip via frames. So go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll look at that stuff when we come back. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock, so I'm back. I know you guys will sort of saunter back from your break in the next couple of minutes. So if you aren't already, what we're going to do now is we're going to start out with learning how to trigger a movie clip based on entering a frame. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. And what I'd like you to do is make a new Adobe Animate file. So just go to Animate and go File, New. And as usual, you can just click on, it really doesn't matter what size it is. You can just hit Create. And whatever size it makes, just take your magnifying glass and zoom in on it so that you got a nice big screen full of your stage here. Now what you want to do is we want to change the background color of this stage so it's easy to see what we're animating. So go up to Modify and click on Document. So Modify Document. And then down here where it says stage color, click on this stage color and change it to a light gray. So like the second choice down on the left will be okay, or third choice down, I mean, on the left. A light gray, not a medium gray because it'll be too hard to see. So go ahead and change your background to a light gray. Okay, now what you want to do is click on your shape tool here and make sure that you click and hold on it and choose the oval tool. And then come down to the very bottom to the color chip and click on the color chip at the bottom and change that to white. All right, now come out onto your stage, hold your shift key down, and then drag out a circle. Now make sure that you have a circle which is just white and that has no stroke around it. If you have a color in this little stroke box here, click on it and change it to none by clicking on this symbol here, the no symbol. And then redraw your circle so that it's just a white circle, right? Okay, now go up to the shape tool and change it to a rectangle. Now see if you can take your cursor here and put it about the center of the circle. Like if you were to cut the circle in half with a horizontal line, see if you can put that cursor right there at the edge of the circle in the middle of a horizontal line, click, drag out a rectangle below the circle, and then drag over until the end of your rectangle lines up with the right side of the circle. Now, it doesn't matter if it's exact or not. We're just trying to get a specific kind of a shape. It's sort of a circular top, sort of a tombstone shape, okay? All right, now one of the things about using shapes on Adobe Animate is if you draw one shape on top of another in the same layer, then they combine in Adobe Animate. So if you now click on your arrow tool and you click on this, it's all one shape. It used to be a circle and a rectangle, but now it's all just one tombstone shape. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is click on your eraser tool, this one right here, and make sure you have a big size eraser. Now you can do that by, if you look at your keyboard, the letter P, 2 keys to the right of the P, if you hit that, it will increase the size of your eraser or your paintbrush, whatever you're using. And if you hit the key one to the right of the P, it will decrease it. So see if you can get a paintbrush which is approximately a little bigger than 1/4 of an inch, kind of like what I've got right here. And then what I want you to do is start over here on the left side near the bottom of your tombstone, click and hold your mouse and just kind of erase a wavy line at the bottom of your tombstone like that. So just click with your eraser and just drag it in kind of a wavy line over the bottom, and it will erase that.
Hey, Greg, my eraser won't change sizes. It's like
Okay, let's see. Look over here on the right-hand side where it says erasure options, and then this size thing here.
okay,
Click on that and drag it.
open the properties. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Once you've erased the wavy bottom there, go back to your shape tool and choose an oval. Come down to your color box at the bottom and choose black. And then draw a little oval up at the top left here like this. Now, if you want to copy something in a program like Adobe Animate, you can click on it. So in this case, go ahead and click on the black oval. Hold down your Option key. Click on the black oval with your Option key held down. Start to move it to the right and hold your Shift key down. And then drag it out to the right a little bit so it looks kind of like this. Okay, now click on your oval tool again. This time hold down your Shift key and go right below the other two and drag out a little circle. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a little ghost, right? So what you can do is click on your selection tool, the arrow, click and drag a marquee around all of this, right? And then come up here to modify and then group. Okay, and now everything is just kind of grouped together. You can click on it, you can move it wherever you want. It's not going to accidentally pull anything off. Okay, so now we've got a little ghost we can work with. So what we're going to demo is the ability to turn a movie clip basically on or off by sending people to different frames. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to turn this guy into a symbol so that we can make him into a movie clip and put a little animation together with this guy where he's flying around the stage. Okay, so click on your ghost, go to Modify, Convert to Symbol, change the symbol type to movie clip, and then name him Ghost. Okay, so now if we open up our library palette, which we can do by going Window, Library, you can see that inside of your library is a little movie clip called Ghost. All right, so we can leave that on the stage like this, and then we can double click on this Ghost to go into symbol edit mode. Now in symbol edit mode, we now have a timeline up at the top, which is basically the timeline for the Ghost. And we have this Ghost on the stage that we can use, that we can animate around the stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him just kind of float around to different locations of the stage at different times. But the first thing we have to do is we have to click on this Ghost that's on the stage, and we have to turn him into a symbol. So what we're going to do is go Modify, Convert to Symbol, and we're actually going to change him to a graphic. And let's call him Ghost 2. So Ghost 2 is going to be a graphic, and hit OK. All right, so now we have a symbol inside of a symbol. We have a graphic symbol inside of a movie clip symbol. But the reason we turned him into a graphic is so we can animate him. All right, now this next part is going to be a little random, and so you can do whatever you want with this as far as like where you put him. But we've got a keyframe there at frame 1. So now we're going to go down to frame 5, click on frame 5 and hit F6, which is going to insert another keyframe, and then just grab your Ghost and move him to a new location, right? Go down to F10, hit F6, move your Ghost to a new location again. Go down to 15, F6, move him again. 20, F6, move him again. Let's do 2 more. 25, F6, move him again. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I just ended up moving him in a little bit of a circle here. And then finally 30, F6, and let's move him back sort of towards the center. It doesn't matter if he's in exactly the same place or not. Now let me see something here. Okay. Now, there is a way that we can get him back into exactly the same place that he started. And this is kind of cool. If you go up here, you're on frame 30 and you've got him sort of centered again. Click on these round circles up here at the top, which are called the onion skin, right? Now, what's going to happen is on your timeline here, there's going to be a little gray set of boxes with a blue line at the left end. Click on that blue line and drag it all the way back to frame 1. Now what onion skinning is it shows you all of the previous frames, right? What you want to do is take your Ghost and you want to move him exactly on top of the very first frame, which should be that one that's in the middle. Okay? And so what should happen with this now is when it loops, he should start out there, and then he moves there and there and there and there and there, and then back to the beginning, and then when it loops, it should look like he starts there again, so he should just continuously loop. So to test this out, after you get him back where he should be, turn off the onion skin, click on this little circular arrow here, this arrow going in a circle, which is the loop tool, and let's see. Then once you click on the loop, you have to grab this blue arrow at the top and drag it all the way down to frame 30. This is how long you want your animation to loop. And then you have to hit the play button up here. Now he's moving too quickly, so I'm going to stop it for a second. Let me go, you can change his frame rate by going Modify Document. Let's change his frame rate to something like 10 frames per second. Hit the loop tool and hit play again. Okay, so now your little ghost is moving around the screen. Okay, and don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like this. You know, there's no right or wrong in this. You can even change the timing to be even slower. Modify document. Let's go 5 frames per second. Right. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to take it back to 10 per second because I like 10 better. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to smooth out these movements. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click in the gray areas between the keyframes, and we're going to create a classic tween in each one of these. Okay, now let's see what it looks like. It looks kind of like Pac-Man or something. Yeah, he's still moving too fast, so let me see if I can. Let me go back to 5 now that he's moving at a consistent rate. Woo. Okay, I like 5. Him floating around the screen, right? Okay, so go ahead and play with yours and get it to be something that you like. And remember, of course, right now we're working inside of a movie clip. So, you know, we made a little animation, but it's inside of a movie clip, which means whenever we put that movie clip on the stage, this entire animation is going to play, right? Okay, so I'm going to stop that by clicking on the loop tool. And then I'm going to go back to scene 1. Okay, clicking on this little arrow here, or scene 1. Now what we have on the stage here is the actual movie clip, which contains the entire animation, right? So what we want to do is we actually, this is going to sound kind of weird, but we actually want to click on this ghost that's on the stage, and we want to hit our delete key. Now don't worry, you haven't lost anything, because if you open up your library, your movie clip called Ghost is still here, and you can still drag it onto the screen at any time. But we actually don't want it to be on the screen in the very first frame. So because what we're going to do is we're going to trigger it via going to specific frames, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on our text tool.
Greg, how did you delete it all at once? Did you just shift it?
So what I did was he was on the stage like this. So what you do, first of all, make sure you go back to scene 1, okay? So click over here. If there's an arrow going left and it says scene 1, click on that.
And then scene 1.
Are you back in the main movie?
Yeah.
Okay, just click on the ghost on the stage and hit your delete key.
Oh, okay. But all my keyframes are still there.
Well, then you're in the wrong place. Do command Z or Control Z to undo what you just did.
Okay.
Now down here, does it say like scene 1 and have an arrow pointing left? Right here?
Arrow pointing down. It just says scene 1 with the arrow pointing down.
Oh.
Just like yours.
It sounds to me like you didn't make your animation inside of the movie clip. You made it in the main timeline.
Probably when I command Z'd. Okay. I'll have to move it.
Okay. Do you want to know how to do that?
Is it easy? Is it a simple step versus me remaking it? Is there a shortcut?
Well, there's kind of a shortcut. So if I double click on my ghost here, this is what you have on your main stage right here, right?
Right.
Okay. So what you need to do is you need to click on the very first frame, hold your shift key down and click on the very last frame. and then right click and go cut frames.
Okay.
Okay, then what you need to do is what have you got in your library over here?
In my library, I have a Ghost and Ghost 2. One's a graphic and one's a movie clip.
Okay, grab the movie clip and drag it onto the stage.
Okay.
Now double click on it.
All right, check.
Okay, and you have an empty timeline, right?
Yes, and I'm in Ghost movie clip.
Okay, so click on the first frame.
Okay.
Hold your shift key down, click on frame 30, and right click and do paste frames.
Hold on. Because you cannot place a symbol inside of itself.
Cannot create a symbol inside of itself.
Maybe I'll just recreate it real quick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
let's try that.
I'll do that, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so where the hell am I? Okay. Go back here. All right. All right, so we're in the main movie. We remove the ghost off of the stage. So now you want to click on your text tool. You want to come down here to the black, and you want to choose the white color, the color chip. Drag out a text box, and say, just type something like, click the button to see the ghost fly, or something like that. I wanted my text to be white. Oh, come over here. I'm sorry. Come over here to the right to where this little fill box is and click on that color and change that to white. I was changing it over here, but it didn't change. Okay, so it says click the button to see the ghost fly. Okay, now what you want to do is click on your shape tool and choose a rectangle tool. Now, if we want a rectangle with kind of rounded edges, a rounded rectangle, come over to your properties box and put in, I think I'm going to put in the number 20. Let's see if I like 20. No, let's put in 10. Put in the number 10 over here in your rectangle options box. And then get a black color in your front foreground color here, and click and drag out a big button. You can kind of move that over so it's kind of centered. Then click on your text tool. Come over here to the fill color and change it to white again. Drag out a text box and just type, the word fly. And you can make that a little bigger if you want. You can, of course, change the font, center it via the paragraph centering tool, and then drag the walls of the text box out to the edges of the button. Drag the bottom up, and then click on this whole thing and drag it straight down. So you've got a big button here. Okay, so now click and drag a marquee around the button. So you select both the text and the button and go up to Modify, Convert to Symbol. Let's just call this fly. Let's make it a button. And let's hit OK. All right, so we've got our ghost movie clip symbol. We've got a front page here. I'm calling it a front page like it's a web page, but it's the first frame, right? we've got our text and we've got our buttons, so we're ready to go. So what we're going to do now is over here in the timeline, we're going to double click on layer 1, and we're just going to call this graphics. This is the graphics layer. And then we're going to hit the plus symbol, and we're going to go ahead and type the word actions into the layer that we put above it. Now, the type of document that I made is an HTML5 Canvas document. I don't know what your default was when you clicked to make a canvas, but see, mine says Untitled 3 Canvas, right? Hopefully yours says the same thing, because I'm about to work within the JavaScript. If yours doesn't say that, if it doesn't say the word canvas, you have to use ActionScript. Okay, and I'll show you where both are. All right, so what we're going to do is we're on the actions layer. We're going to go Window and then Actions. It's going to open our little Actions window. We're going to click on this little hard brackets here for the code snippets. Now, like I said, if the name of your document has the word canvas after it, you're going to choose HTML5 canvas options. If it doesn't, you're going to choose ActionScript. Okay. The first thing you're going to do is open up timeline navigation and double click on stop at this frame. And that's the same for both of them, right? Okay, and then of course it'll put all this code in, including this comment. You can delete the comment out if you want. You don't need it. Okay, so what's going to happen? The movie is going to open up and it's going to stop on frame 1, right? Then what we want to happen is we want it so that if you want to make the ghost fly, you're going to click on this button, and that's going to take you to frame 2, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to frame 2 here in the actions layer, and we're going to click on frame 2 in the actions layer, and we're going to right click and insert a blank keyframe. Now, once we have that blank keyframe, we're going to go ahead and once again, we're going to put a stop at this frame piece of ActionScript in there. So double click on stop at this frame, and it's going to drop that code in. So in other words, each frame that we send people to, it's going to stop on that frame. The movie doesn't just automatically progress. It stops on that frame, right? Okay, now on frame, go down to the graphics layer. You can move these ActionScript windows. You can close them up or move them out of the way for now. Go to your library and find the file called Ghost, right? On frame 2 of the graphics layer, right-click and insert a blank keyframe. So we've got just a blank keyframe on the graphics layer, frame 2. Now grab the thing which is called Ghost, which is a movie clip, and drag it into the center of your stage. Okay, so frame 2, we've got the Ghost movie clip. Frame 1, we've got the text and the button. Okay, now all we have left to do is click on this button here. So go back to frame 1, click on the button. We have to add the script, which is going to take you to frame 2. And of course, the movie clip's already there, ready to play. So now what we're going to do is click on the button, go to your code snippets, under timeline navigation, click go to frame and play. Double click on that. Oh, I'm sorry, it says the selected symbol requires an instance name. I forgot to give it one. Let's cancel out of that real quick and let's give it one so we'll know how to do that. So what we're going to do is with your button selected, come over here to the properties box. It'll say button, and then underneath it'll say instance name. Just go ahead and name it fly. No exclamation point, just fly. Okay, now once we put that in there, we'll go ahead and we'll start over. Click on the button. Come over here to HTML5 Canvas. Double click to go to frame and play. And let's see, I think I might have done it twice. Let me try again. wow, every time I undo it, it does something else. Okay, let's see. And shift 0. Okay, there we go. All right, so you double click on that. It puts in all this code. You can get rid of the comments if you want. And so then what you want to do is where it says this go to and play, and it's got the number 5, put in the number 1. Now this, of course, is on if you're on the HTML canvas. In HTML5 canvas, the first frame is 0 and the second frame is 1. If you're doing this in the action script up on top, you have to actually put in number 2 because that counts the frames differently. Now, of course, what it does is it says this and then fly, which is the instance name for this button, add the event listener to listen for a click. When it hears a click, go ahead and do a function called go to and play from frame. And then the function's right after that, and it says go to and play frame 1. Okay, so now we can save this file, save as, and you can save it wherever you want. You can call it fly or ghost or whatever. And now we can test it out. So control test movie in browser. Okay, let me make it a little bigger. Okay, so the first frame of the movie is just the text and the button, and it stops there. And then you click on the button and it takes you to the second frame, and then the ghost does his thing. Now keep in mind the people who are watching this, they actually think that you press the button and the new thing just comes up on the same in the same screen, right? It's not. For the user, everything appears in the same window, but for you, the designer, everything is along a horizontal timeline. So you can do anything you want on, quote, the same screen. You just have to put it at a different place on the timeline and then send people there when they do an action so that that event occurs. So potentially, you could have 5 different things occurring based on different buttons that people click as long as you send them to 5 different frames, right? Now, if I wanted to, on the second frame here, I could put a little button that says, go back to the original page, or I could put a button that says stop the ghost, and then that could go to the next frame. And in frame 3, I could just have a picture of the ghost sitting in the middle of the screen, but it wouldn't be the movie clip. It would just be this, this graphic of the ghost. So when somebody presses stop the ghost, it would send him to the next frame, and it would look like the ghost just went back to his central position when really it's taking him to a new frame. Okay, how did you guys do? Did you get that to work? Okay, any problems or questions?
Greg, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you said it would go, like you said, like if you made a go back for the ghost, would it be sending them back to the first frame or to a new frame?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. Let's go ahead and make a button. Let's go to the second frame here, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a new button here. So I'm going to click on my rectangle tool. I'll click on my white and make it black. And then I'll drag out a new button. I'll click on my text tool and come over here to the properties box and change it to white. And now I'll just I'll type the word stop. Okay, so now we're gonna drag a marquee around the word stop and the button. We're gonna go modify, convert to symbol. We're gonna call this stop, and we're gonna make it a button. Now, while I'm here, since I just turned it into a symbol, I'm gonna go over here to the properties where it says button and instance name, and I'm gonna type in the instance name right now, stop. It says stop is not a valid instance name. Oh, we can't use stop because it's a reserved keyword. So let's just type in my stop, and that will be fine. Okay, so now it has an instance name, so we can use it to trigger something. right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to frame 3 in the graphics layer and right click and insert a blank keyframe. And that's going to take us down to the 3rd frame, right? Now, in your library, you should have a ghost and you should have a ghost 2. Ghost 2 is just a graphic, right? Grab ghost 2 and just drag it into the center of your screen. Okay? Now, the next thing we need to do, we need to put some action script in here so that it will stop on this frame and won't play anymore. So on frame 3, click in frame 3 on the actions layer, right click and insert a blank keyframe. Okay, so that's just going to give us somewhere to work. Then open up your actions window and your code snippets. Come down here and double click stop at this frame. Okay, so in other words, we're forcing the playback head to stop at each of the 3 frames because we want it to stay there and do whatever is happening on the stage, right? Okay, so now what we've got is, okay, the first page they're stopped on. If they click the button, it sends them to the 2nd page, right? And then we haven't coded this button yet, but when we do, when they click on that, it's going to take them to the third frame, right? Okay, so now let's go to the 2nd frame, right? And click on the stop button. Now we're going to add some action script code to that. So open up your code snippets and double click, click to go to a frame and play. So double click on that. That's going to put your code in here. You can delete all the comments if you want. And where it says this go to and play, we're going to put in the frame number 2 because it's 012 in HTML5. Okay. So now that button works. So when we click on that, it should send us to 3. Even if the ghost, you know, when you click on that, the ghost is going to be flying around all over the stage, so he's not going to be in that center position. But you can make it so he basically returns to home base by doing this, right? So let's test it out. Control, test movie in browser. Okay, so we click the fly button and the ghost flies around. We hit the stop button and it takes us to frame 3 and he's just stuck in the middle there. Now you could just as easily have taken that stop button and sent it back to frame 1, right? And then, you know, it would have the same effect. The ghost stops flying, you just don't see him, you know. You know, you could even do something like on frame 1. I don't want you guys to do this, but I'll just kind of show you. You know, on frame 1, like just imagine that you had the ghost in a certain position, right? You could hit fly, and then on frame 2, you could have this. You could replace this fly button with stop, and the ghost could start here and he could fly all over the place. And then when you hit stop, it could send you back to frame 1 and it would look exactly like this again. So you could do a better job than I did of making it look like everything's really consistent, where, you know, you come back to the same place you left off from, which I think is kind of what you were asking, right, Amelia? Yeah. So, you know, it's entirely up to you which way you want to do this. You could either go back to 1, the first frame, or go to a 3rd frame and have something else, some other conditions set up there. Okay, any questions about this?
I have like a different question.
Yeah.
The difference between a classic tween and a motion tween?
Okay, so motion tweens are really powerful tweens that you can do, but they're mostly really good when you're making a Flash file as opposed to an HTML5 file. Motion tweens will let you do things like do subtle variations in the speed of things and really make really cool animations, right? However, when it comes to animating for HTML5, some of those things you can do with motion tweens don't work in HTML5. So the general recommendation is only use a classic tween when you're animating for HTML5.
Okay.
That's why I don't go into motion tweens very much, because it's sort of pointless.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Library here. Okay. All right. So you can save this file if you want. Maybe it will be useful to you as a reference. If you did end up doing your Halloween thing and you wanted, let me open my recent file here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Tab, open recent. Tabs master, is that what it is? Okay. Okay, so you guys remember this thing that I did on Tuesday where, I had 3 frames and I just made it so when you click on these buttons, you go from one tabbed page to another, right? Now, if you combine these 2 concepts together, what you end up with is, you could have somebody be on the first one, but when they click on the second one, you could have a motion clip or a movie clip sitting on that page waiting for them, right? So in other words, imagine that little ghost. We could take him and we could put him here. In fact, I can do it right now. Here's a cool thing you can do. Let me open my library here. If you've got more than 2 Flash files open at the same time, you can actually bring files from one library over into another, right? So let me go ahead and open up my recent file, which is the fly file. Oops, shit. Sorry. Hold on. Open recent fly. Okay. All right. Now I have two files open. I've got my fly open. Sorry. Got my fly open. Okay. I've got tabs master open. Right. Okay. Now, if I open up my library, right now it's showing me everything that's in tabs master, right? But look, all I have to do is click on this drop-down menu and change it to fly. And look, it's showing me the library for fly. So what I could do is on frame 2 of this, page 2, which is candy, I could open this up and I could grab my, my ghost movie clip and I could put it down here on this candy page, right? And so now, let's see if this works. Control test movie in browser. Oops. Okay, somehow he ended up on frame 1. Let's see if these, okay. So I got to figure out what I did wrong because he's jumping around like a little madman on there. Okay, let's see what I did wrong. Okay, so what should happen? I don't know if I might not have stop commands on here. Let's see, actions. No, I do have a stop command on there. Let's see. So this is, let me see. Frame 2, I have a stop. Frame 3, I have a stop.
Do you have to have a stop inside of the movie clip animation?
Well, you shouldn't need one. I mean, where I put, oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry, I know what it is. I just dropped this guy on any layer and he's on all layers now. So he's on all the time, basically. So let me turn him off. Basically what I need to do is I need to make a brand new layer. I need to call it ghost. I need to make a blank keyframe on frame 2. And then I need to drop him in there. And then I also need to make a blank keyframe on frame 3. So as you see, when you look at my timeline now, the only place this guy exists is on frame 2, right? When I just dragged him in, he was on all the frames all the time. So let's see if that solves the problem. Okay, so we're on frame 1, which is this tab here. You click frame 2. There's the PCP ghost, right? The ghost that's been nibbling on cocaine all night. And then we go to the costumes and he's gone again. So in other words, he's only on that second frame.
Did you drop your stop button and all of the actions drop
Yep.
too? One out of
Well,
four.
I put my stop code in all three of them. So if you look at my actions window actions, okay, see how the stop code is on frame 1?
Yeah, I
It's
meant
on
like
frame 2 and it's on frame 3. What's
the,
that?
the stop button that you made on the ghost file.
Oh,
Does,
yeah, I didn't bring that in yet.
but is it possible?
Yeah,
I,
it's completely possible. So what you would do is, okay, so let's see. So now you want me to bring in the stop button, and of course, let's see.
wanted to see the actions work. So it's like you could save things for real, for real.
Well, let's see. Let's see. So we click this open. Okay, we do have a stop button here.
Okay.
So what I could do is I could drag the stop button down here.
New layer? Does it have to be on a new layer?
Oh, yes, excellent. Thank you, because I screwed that up again. Well, actually, you know what? I could put it on the same layer as this ghost, but it really is a good idea to put everything on a separate layer, um, so that you can keep track of it. So stop button. Okay, so of course, same thing. Insert a blank keyframe on 2. I'm going to insert one on 3 too, 3 as well. Okay, and then now I'm going to go to 2, and now I'm on a brand new layer called stop, and I'm going to put the stop button in here, right? Now, my stop button has code attached to it, which currently sends you to the third frame, which is this costumes frame, right? Um, and you know, like Amelia was saying, could you go back to frame 1? I can make it so the stop button sends you to frame 1 or sends you to frame 3. Right now, it's sending you to frame 3, so theoretically, it should just work. It should just send you here, and then you'll just be on the costumes tab. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I click on Candy. I've got my ghost. I hit stop. Ah, yeah, it doesn't work. So, it,
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it just needs adjusting on the action.
yeah, I probably need to adjust the action script. So, if the action script, maybe the action script didn't come over. Maybe
Yeah.
all it did was bring over the button. So let's see. Let's go to Window Actions. Um, yeah, sure enough, there's no actions on this.
Probably safer anyway, so you don't accidentally put the wrong.
Yeah, so first thing I'll do is I'll give this an instance name of my stop. I'll open up the HTML5 actions. I'll open up timeline navigation. I'll double click, click to go to frame and play. And then I'll put in frame 2. And now when I test it out, okay, so click on Candy gives me the hyperactive ghost, and then I click on stop and it takes me to costumes.
Nice. That was so smooth.
So yeah, so this is kind of what I wanted to show you is like, you know, you could, if you wanted to do something, and you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to take your ad, and of course you can make it bigger than what I suggested, because Livia pointed out that, you know, you might want to make an ad that's a half page or something like that for Halloween. But you could put little tabs up there at the top, and you could make it so that when people click in certain areas, a little animation occurs right away. That's a little movie clip. It's hidden, waiting on that frame for them to go to it, to move to it, and then it just happens, right? Okay. All right. So any questions about any of that stuff?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. So yeah, we just have a few minutes left of class. So let me do one last thing for you guys, is show you how to make a link to another location. So you know, we did this in the tutorial for the basket, but we'll go ahead and do it again just because, you know, repetition is a good thing, right? So here we are, we're on this little ghost thing here. Let me go back to my actual ghost thing because you guys have the same, you have this same thing that you built, right? Now, let's say that we want to make a new button so people can go to Spirit Halloween and buy their costumes, right? So you can click on your rectangle symbol. I'm just going to stick with black as my color. And I'm going to make a big long button up here. Then I'm going to click on my text, my type, and come over to the fill and fill it with white. And I'm going to say visit Spirit Halloween. Okay, so I'm going to make a big button there, which will allow people to go to this website, right? Now remember, when you guys are making your Halloween ad, I am requiring you to have at least one link that sends people to a website, right? It doesn't matter if it's connected to your product or not. Just send them to something that that's Halloween related or something. Anyway, so now I can drag a marquee around this whole thing. Modify, convert to symbol. Let's of course make this a button and we'll call it visit. Okay, and now we're going to put in the code, which is going to make it a link. I'm going to go out and see if there's an actual Spirit Halloween website. I would assume there is at spirithalloween.com or something like that. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Ooh, okay. So, okay, I'm just copying their URL, but it's pretty easy to figure out. Okay, so now I've got my button. I'm going to open up my actions. I'm going to open up my code snippets. Open up HTML5 canvas. This time we're going to open up actions, not timeline navigation. And we're going to double click on click to go to web page. Once again, it says it requires an instance name, so I'm going to cancel. I'll give it the instance name of visit over here in the properties box. And then click on it again and double click on click to go to a web page. Okay, so now it drops in all this code. I'm going to get rid of the comments. And it says, it puts in an event listener for a click, and then it does the function and it opens to the Adobe website. So all you have to do is replace Adobe with spirithalloween.com. Okay, and then you can close your action window and you can test this in your browser. And when you click on it, it should take you to the Spirit Halloween website. Or not. Wow, mine didn't work. Okay, now I know that mine is, there's supposed to be an S on the beginning of that as well. Oh, you know what? I think I know what I did wrong. I think let's see. I think it's HTTPS spirithalloween.com. That should be right. Let's see. If this doesn't work, then I'll just I'll take the URL exactly off of the website. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you have to put an S after the HTTP. So it's a secure website. So https://www.spirithalloween.com. And then it will take you there. All right, did you guys get that to work? Okay. All right, cool. Look at these cute costumes. Baby costumes.
I definitely like that Chucky one though. Bring it back, bring it back.
Look at this guy here. That's what is it? It? Or is it it? Is that the movie that's from?
Mm-hmm.
Animatronics. Oh my God. Animatronics.
Uh-oh. Gonna see you out there in your animatronics.
Look at that. You could buy these robots for your front yard.
Ooh, that is tight.
For like a couple $100.
Well.
Wow.
That's what you're into.
That's cool. Let's see what else they have. So animatronics, remotes and mechanisms. Some people just go nuts on Halloween. You know what I mean?
I love Halloween.
I know. Oh, look, here's a step pad activator. You put that under Matt, and then it makes something happen, like a sound goes off or something.
That's awesome.
Here's a remote that'll control 4 different animatronics. Look at this. This one's cracking me up. The dropping mechanism. So if you want to put like a bucket of water over your front porch, like
Can you
back
imagine?
in the day, we used to do this with a string. That was our dropping mechanism, right? You pull a string and the bucket falls. And
Home Alone style.
here's a swinging mechanism. If you want to have a little guillotine blade come down and cut the heads off of your visitors.
Oh,
This is, oh, a fog machine timer. I had no idea Halloween was this much fun.
it's so much fun.
You know, Extreme Haunted Sound Effects Box 2 for only $15. Wow.
Trevor.
Yeah. Well, you guys could use this as an excuse to do your homework. You could go visit cool Halloween sites and maybe get ideas for your ads. Look at Baby Yoda, of course, and the Mandalorian.
Hocus Pocus.
Cuteness overload. The marshmallow. All right. Little pony. Ooh, the Demigorgon. Oh, that's great, isn't it?
That's really neat. I love that. And I love
Oh,
this balloon animal. Like that's what's up.
yeah, he looks good. Oh, the balloon animal.
Look at that. That's pretty neat, right?
Every year they come out with the coolest costumes, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I
Uh,
would put mine together, thrift store, and some hot glue gun. Bootleg something.
uh, you want to hear the worst Halloween costume I ever put together? Okay, let's see. I got a periodic periodic table of the elements.
That's a good idea, though.
Wait, hold on. I gotta find this. I gotta get one this big. All right. I think yeah, that's it. Okay. So see how the scientific symbol for iron is Fe?
Uh-huh.
So one year somebody invited me to a Halloween party last minute and I didn't have a costume. So I took a piece of paper and I wrote Fe on it and I put it on my chest and when people said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Iron Man."
That works, though. That's my kind of outfit. I might,
Yeah.
I might have
I
to.
was I was never invited back. Okay. Um all right. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. So see if you can get some work done on your animations, some ideas sketched out, maybe some sample animations or animatics, whatever you got happening over the weekend, so we can look at some cool stuff next Tuesday.
Okay,
Okay?
Greg, when are you gonna post this video? Because I need to go back.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It usually takes about 15 minutes or so to finish the video, and then I have to upload it to YouTube, and then it has to process there. So I would say maybe an hour from now or so it will be ready. Okay?
Okay, cool.
All right, have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ed.
Bye. Okay, stop video.